Okay. At this time, I would like to ask our IT professionals to start the audio tape recordings of the regular meeting and to admit any members of the public who've chosen to listen to the meeting online.
The public has been let in and the recording has started.
Thank you. My name is Heather Ankrum, and I serve as Deputy General Counsel of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, also known as Atlanta Housing. Before the regular meeting is called to order, please consider the following announcements. We welcome the members of the public who have joined us in person in the Pecan Room at the Atlanta Housing Headquarters, located at 230 John Wesley Dobbs, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, for this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Atlanta Housing. We also welcome the members of the public who have joined this meeting via audio conference. There is also an option to view the meeting live streamed. Members of the public can find the link in the notices section on the Atlanta Housing website. Excuse me. The live streaming link is also contained on the Atlanta Housing Board Docs location. Please be advised that any members of the public who wish to address the board during the time for public comment period must have signed up on the public speaker's sign-up sheet at the front door of the meeting room prior to the time the meeting is called to order, or have sent in a comment by the time set in the notice of the meeting. A link to the meeting agenda, board resolutions, and presentation materials are available for review by the public by accessing the link on the Atlanta Housing's website at www.atlantahousing.org/notices.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Larry Stewart, and I serve as the Chair of the Board of Commissioners. I am now calling this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, to order. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, and the time is 2:04 p.m. Will the Deputy General Counsel, I'm so used to seeing interim there, take the roll to determine a quorum for the meeting?
Yes. Larry Stewart, Chair.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Kirsch, Vice Chair.
Here.
Commissioner Joel Alvarado. Commissioner Joel Alvarado. Commissioner Rosalind Elliott.
Here.
Commissioner Duria Faruqi. Commissioner Duria Faruqi. Commissioner Douglas Hooker. Commissioner Douglas Hooker. Commissioner Tony Martin.
Here.
Mr. Chair, there is an in-person quorum present.
All right, the agenda has been presented to the board for review and comment. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda? All right. That's that part. Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Motion.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Martin and seconded by Commissioner Elliott. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did not hear any opposition or abstentions, and so the motion is carried.
Commissioners, the minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting held on March 26, 2025 are before you for review and comment. Are there any proposed corrections to the minutes of the regular Board of Commissioners meeting?
All right, if I'm not hearing any corrections, may I have a motion to adopt the regular meeting minutes held on March 26, 2025?
Second.
Have a second? All right. So moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Kirsch. Is there any discussion related to the motion to approve the minutes of the March 26, 2025 meeting? Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. I did not hear any opposition or any abstentions, and so the motion is carried. Excuse me. Are there any members from the public that have signed up to speak or have provided comments in advance of the meeting?
AH received no comments in advance of the meeting, and no members have signed up to speak.
All right, so then that closes our public comment portion of the meeting, and we will move to resolutions. Please be advised at the Board of Commissioners September 22nd, 2021 meeting, the board approved a consent agenda protocol. And so today, we have 3 resolutions appearing below that received unanimous votes of approval at the Board of Commissioners Real Estate Committee meeting held on April 16th, 2025. The collective group of resolutions on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion to adopt all resolutions and the affirmative majority vote of the Board of Commissioners. If discussion on any resolution or resolutions is desired by a commissioner, the commissioner must make known that desire to the chair immediately following the reading of the consent agenda items, and the resolutions will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately or at the discretion of the chair. A discussion may occur prior to that vote on the consent agenda resolutions. Moreover, if a commissioner simply wants his or her vote to be specifically recorded on a particular item, separate votes may be taken on the resolutions. Will the Deputy General Counsel identify the 3 resolutions on the consent agenda for the record?
Yes. Before you are copies of the following consent agenda resolutions. Please note that following resolutions were renumbered for consistency, with no other modifications to the resolutions voted upon at the April 16th, 2025 Real Estate Committee meeting. Resolution number 2512, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to complete the closing of the disposition and development of Magnolia Perimeter Bundle B with Quest Community Development Organization, Inc., for the development of for-sale affordable housing in Vine City. Resolution number 2513, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to enter into a grant agreement with the Environmental Protection Division of the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and commit Bowen Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant funds to facilitate receipt of an FY 2025 Recycling and Waste Diversion Grant Award. Resolution number 2514, the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, seeks authorization to take all actions necessary to submit a disposition application to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the approximately 4.53-acre portion of the former Harris Home site to the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture.
All right. May I have a motion to consider, adopt, and approve the consent agenda containing resolutions 2512, 13, and 14?
So moved.
Second.
All right. So moved by Commissioner Kirsch and seconded by Commissioner Elliott. Is there any discussion related to the consent agenda resolutions? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 I did not hear any opposition or abstentions, and so the motion is carried. Never felt like I've gotten this far this fast. So no executive session is needed today, and so I will now ask our President and CEO, Terry Lee, if she'd like to present a report. It looks like she does. Awesome. We don't have to have a cheerleading session today. but-
Yes, we do, always.
Okay, fair
Always,
enough.
sir, because what, Atlanta is home.
That's
And
right.
so I have, I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to let each one of our Board of Commissioners know how grateful I am to you for your leadership, your partnership, and your support. And when I walked in the room today and I saw you all putting your hats on, that is a level of pride that just warms my heart, and it lets me know that, the energy that we're literally displaying and putting out is getting contagious. And I'm just grateful for who we are as an agency, but also for you all partnering with us. And with that, I'll lean into my report, but quite honestly, my report really resembles that same level of activity and momentum that we've had this month. You can go to the next slide, please. Because it's really important that we always stay on track with our strategic goals, the commitment and the promise that we made, not just to the public, but to ourselves in January of 2023. We always like to show the actions that this board has taken. What does it mean in furthering the goals of the strategic plan? And so goal under goal number 1, which is our goal to create 10,000 units, create or preserve 10,000 units by the end of fiscal year 2027. We're continuing lifting up that activity, and quite honestly, we're lifting up with homeownership, which is so vitally important. And this homeownership activity will take place in our Vine City neighborhood community. And we're working along with one of our nonprofit partners to create 12 affordable units on that particular site. We're also continuing to enhance this board's action, continue to enhance our partnerships beyond housing, but really on impactful community development. And that's the work that we're doing with True Living Well in the disposition of a land that has been determined not to be appropriate for housing. And so we're maximizing the use of that land by impacting community development, but also bringing food access to a community that that desperately needs it. As well as, again, from a partnership standpoint, partnership means so many different things, but we always love the partnership when we're having dollars brought to the table. And so we've received a grant from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division of $1.6 million that will be leveraged with our Choice Neighborhood grants Choice Neighborhood Grant for Bowen Homes in order to lift up the Charm facility. And so we're excited about that. And again, if you think about the Charm facility that we'll be lifting up, it's really focused on recycling and waste, which leans into sustainability. And that's under goal number 6, strengthening our operations, because we have a very robust sustainability initiative, and we're carrying that through all of our developments. Next slide, please. And so there are 4 things I would like to highlight today. We've already talked about Atlanta is home, but we also participated in 404 Day, the very first 404 Day parade, as well as the continuation of our employee salon and State of Atlanta housing. And so I'll take time to walk you through each one. So go back to the first slide, I'm sorry. So under Atlanta is home, what is so significant, so for 404 Day, we actually launched this social media campaign. And the essence of this campaign is, what does home mean to you? And so along with the campaign, we launched a website where participants can actually go to our website, download I'm gonna mess it up, but download a picture frame, input their picture, and then post it on social media. In addition to the social media campaign, we'll be launching a campaign this week that will actually feature our mayor, our chairman, as well as myself, with us saying what home means to us. And the reason being, for us, we recognize that home is so much more than just a stable foundation and a place to live, but it literally becomes the elevation that you need in moving forward with a level of economic self-sufficiency and independence. And so we have been really, really excited about the way this campaign has taken off. If you notice on your hats that the A is blue as well as the H is blue. And so Atlanta is home for us means that Atlanta housing is here to stay. For 404 Day, which is Atlanta's unofficial parade, or unofficial holiday, but as well as parade, we had the opportunity and so much energy on that Saturday morning to have many of our team members participate in the parade. We had our Atlanta is home t-shirts, our balloons, our music, but more importantly, we had fun, because we work very, very, very hard at this agency, making sure that we can provide housing stability for our families. We also want our employees to be able to enjoy each other as well. And so it was really a good day of collaboration, good day of partnership, but quite honestly, just an excellent day of fellowship. With our employee salon, we were very fortunate to launch our second employee salon. As Chief Operating Officer Vaughn shared with you last month, we hosted Christopher Nunn, the Commissioner for Georgia Department of Community Affairs, and which was an excellent opportunity for our employees to really hear from the state as to what their priorities are, but more so the partnership that they have with Atlanta Housing. And for our second salon, we were very fortunate to have Mayor Dickens join us. And Mayor Dickens actually joined us after being in a dentist chair that morning. But he said it was important for him to come and spend time with our employees. And we were really fortunate that we had some of our youth participate in that conversation as well. Because it was during spring break, our resident services team had just completed a tour with our youth at Georgia Tech, and they brought them back to have an opportunity to hear from the mayor, but also ask the mayor questions. What was really important in that discussion is that the mayor, we all know our mayor is very passionate, but he gave us all an insight of what love looks like to him when it comes to housing. And it's so much more than just the physical structure, but it's really the work and, quite honestly, the impact that we have on our families. And he challenged us to keep housing in the name of Atlanta Housing, because that's the essence of what we do. And then the state of Atlanta housing. I will tell you, go to the next slide, please. I am still 100%, probably 300% on a high from just a reintroduction of who we are as an agency. The state of Atlanta Housing, which quite honestly our chair had asked for the agency to move forward with quite some time ago, and it was one of my commitments in assuming this role that we would lift up a state of Atlanta housing. But it was so much more than just the opportunity to share, successes. It was really an opportunity for us to give really credence to the past, but also be able to publicly say where we're going for the future and building off of some of the successes we've had as a team. We took the opportunity to really reframe what housing looks like, understanding not just the development activity we've had as an agency, but what that economic impact is and how we've been able to leverage other public and private dollars to make our dollars stretch further. We also shifted perceptions. We're not surprised when people think that we are a bureaucratic entity, but we are a quasi-public entity that is focused on impact. And we were able to demonstrate what that impact actually looks like, not just from a unit perspective, but how do we transform neighborhoods and really become an instrumental part of the physical landscape of the city. And one of the things we shared was, in any corner of this city, you'll see Atlanta Housing present. You'll either see us present from a development aspect, you'll see us present from an assistance aspect where we incentivize the private sector to provide affordable housing in their existing multifamily developments, or you will see our housing choice voucher participants. But every area of the city, our footprint is within the city. As well as we really wanted to make sure that people understood that we recognize Atlanta was first. I argue with one of my colleagues from Cuyahoga County all the time because he reminds me they were the first public housing agency, where I remind him I'm the first one that got something done. And so when you think about Atlanta housing, public housing actually started here. And so we reinforced that legacy, but we also and gave, really quite honestly, lifted that legacy up of the past, what we saw with the transition of, or the transformation rather, of public housing moving to mixed income housing under Hope 6, but also who we are today. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is, for the first time, I know in the last decade or so, we can say that we have active development activity occurring on at least two former public housing sites at the same time. Inglewood has 2 phases of development underway, which is a total of 360 units, and we have the same at Herndon Homes. And so that level of activity is what we're lifting up. But it also gave us a chance to say, if we're really doubling down on providing affordable housing opportunities and preserving affordable housing opportunities, what about the families? And so we were able to announce that our upcoming fiscal year will be a very strong focus on our residents by calling it the Resident Renaissance. And we recognize in order to lift that up, we will have to mobilize new partners, because a lot of our funding cannot necessarily go to those activities, but our partnerships and our relationships can. And so you will see a very strong focus coming from Atlanta Housing on what do we need to do to make sure our families can achieve a level of economic independence. We recognize that that's very important. That mandate is coming not just from the federal government, but also our mayor. He shared in our employee salon series that we should be working to make sure our families are self-sufficient so we can help the next family. And that would be a major focus for us as we move through this next year. Next slide, please. State of Atlanta Housing again. So the media was there. I remember when this board, many of you first came on the board, there was a concern that we didn't have a lot of coverage. Well, I will tell you, I think every media outlet covered us. And even our friends at the Atlanta Civic Circle basically had a tweet during the middle of the ceremony and said, everybody is here. And so we did receive really good coverage from the media. We also received good coverage from the city of Atlanta. They posted a video, I think before 5 o'clock hit that day, they posted a video of the entire event. So we have received very good coverage. Fox 5, Georgia Public Broadcasting, Atlanta News First, as well as Lebanon Live, and then of course the Supporter Report and the Atlanta Voice. in addition to the State of Atlanta Housing, and let me digress for a moment. I just want to thank my leadership team. The State of Atlanta Housing gave me an opportunity to thank them publicly, but I also want to thank them before you. The work that we've been able to lift up has truly been a group project, and it's been collaborative around every different business unit, not just the Housing Choice Voucher team, not just the real estate team, not just the procurement team, not just the policy team, not just IT. It has been everyone. And I'm really grateful to see the level of teamwork, because as we model teamwork, our teams actually see that. And it becomes more of a standard throughout the agency. I also would like to acknowledge Chief of Staff English and her team for just a commendable job of launching the first State of Atlanta Housing. They set the bar extremely high. And so I'm just excited to see what will happen next year. Because I know if this year was, and I'm not even looking at Kelly, but I know if this year was phenomenal, I know next year none of us could even imagine. There's a scripture that talks about that. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. So I'm just excited. I am so excited. And also it was her team that came up with the slogan, Atlanta is home. And when to actually launch that. And so, and that's not on my slides, but I think it's important because two things I heard from this board prior to me sitting in this seat was one, Atlanta Housing was not telling this story. So communications was not at the level that you would expect it to be, and quite honestly, that our public didn't either. And then partnerships. Well, we're answering the call for both of them, and we're answering them not just in words, but in action. And so I'm just really proud of my team. And just by looking at you all with these hats on your head, and you got Dwayne Vaughn to put a hat on, I'm ecstatic about that as well. Somebody get Alan a hat. Yeah. Got to put it on, Ellen. Okay. So I'm gonna move through these slides pretty quickly. But again, for Earth Day was, of course, this month, and so we did continue our Green Month activities. What's important to note here is that we have a internal sustainability team and its employees who have come together just lifting up the importance of environmental sustainability. And so they have continued their activities with a cleanup this month, as well as educational activities that were held internally for our employees. I had an opportunity to participate in Rotary Midtown this month, just as an acknowledgement of National Fair Housing Month, and it gave me an opportunity to talk about the importance of an inclusive and equitable housing system, as well as lift up the work for Atlanta Housing. And it's the second time Atlanta Housing has been present at a Rotary. Myself and Vice Chair Kirsch had an opportunity to participate in the downtown Atlanta Rotary about 2 months ago, talking about the importance of affordable housing. So our presence is being known and felt, and they're coming to Atlanta Housing for affordable housing questions and guidance. We continued our efforts for economic empowerment under our home ownership program by partnering with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. We hosted our home buyers workshop that was heavily attended. We, as you know, of the 10,000 units, 15% is dedicated towards home ownership. And so Alan's team, along with Pat Evans, is doing a yeoman's job of getting us to that point. I think to date, since the beginning of our plan, we probably have over 660 families that have taken advantage of our down payment assistance program and transitioned into homeownership activities. And then our future. We know that our children, our youth are our future. At Atlanta Housing, we have about 17 children and youth, and so we really want to make sure that we wrap our arms around them so that every child or youth that comes to Atlanta Housing will either go to a 4-year university, a 2-year university, a trade school, or be employed upon graduation. And so that is something that we are very intentional and very strong on. And so our social media team did a yeoman's job of making sure we got the word out, and the Teen Employment Expo was heavily attended as well. We have events coming up. One event that's not listed is an event that we'll have on tomorrow night with Council Member Boone. I believe it will be at the MLK Natatorium, but it will be a continuation of discussions around Bankhead Reimagined. That's the request for ideas that we let out, I believe, early last spring on Bankhead. And so we had earlier this year, we held an event where the respondents came in and shared their ideas. This is an opportunity to continue to get input As you all know, along the corridor where Bankhead currently resides is really heavily industrial, and it also borders the Chattahoochee as well as the Cobb County incorporated line. So we want to be very thoughtful as to what type of reimagining or development activity takes place there. We're continuing to use Roosevelt Hall. Roosevelt Hall is literally, I believe it's the epicenter of a lot of our resident activities, and so we're continuing with learning spaces for our children. We're doing Bring Your Own Lunch Bingo on May 8th, as well as we'll have the Women's Wellness Circle at Roosevelt Hall too. We're going to continue with exercising on the Move and Groove, as well as we think it's important from an economic empowerment standpoint that we teach our residents the benefits of owning versus renting, and what does that look like, and how do we transition them to there, as well as Ready, Set, Work. If we're talking about economic empowerment, we do know we need educational attainment and workforce development opportunities, so we're doing that as well. I believe there is a event at Roosevelt Hall today that may have been shared last month. Dwayne, do you mind sharing what that event is? Yeah. Yeah, come on. So I will welcome Pamela Owanta, our Senior Vice President of Choice Neighborhoods.
Right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So starting at 3 o'clock, we're hosting a health fair at Roosevelt Hall for our residents. We actually have a few of our health partners who are going to be present, so we're doing some health screenings as well as activities, and so that will be from 3 to 6 p.m. at Roosevelt Hall. So please stop by if you have a chance. All right, today. Yep.
And that's a part of our resident renaissance, right? How do we continue to really have strong activities and partnerships around our residents? Next slide, please. Dashboard is always important to us so that we can publicly track our performance. And this was something that we highlighted also in our State of Atlanta Housing, just the fact that our door is open. We're opening our doors, and we're doing it through transparency. And so anyone can scan the QR code to get an update. What I will say, I'll lean in into goal number 1 as well as goal number 4. Goal number 1, we are at 67% of our 10,000 units, so that's 67% of creation and preservation that we're moving forward with. And I will tell you, last year was probably our most successful year in moving forward with development and preservation activity. And then, of course, communication, telling the Atlanta housing story. That's evident, again, by the State of Atlanta Housing, but also by the level of media attention, that positive media attention that we've been able to receive, as well as positive social media activity. And again, it's just about telling our story more. Commissioners, I thank you again for the opportunity to serve this organization as well as lead our team. And at this time, I'll take any questions if you have some, if you have any, or comments.
I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. At the Real Estate Committee last week, I received my copy of the Master Key.
Yes.
And I've literally carried it around with me. I've shown it to colleagues. I've shown it to family members. I think it is an exceptional document. It starts with one of my favorite quotes, which is "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And it goes on to really, in an inspiring and meaningful way, articulate the care and concern that I think we as an organization have. And what I said to our chairman, an insistence that we bring our A game, which is, we talk about Atlanta, I think saying bringing our A game is the right expression, right? Because our work is hard, because we have the urgency. And I just want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate Kelly English on what is just, it takes exceptional work to bring something like this together. And I know the chairman has asked us to internalize it and read it. I know that you have said each of your teams will be continuing to revisit it. Absolutely. And I just think it speaks volumes to what we can do, and that shared sense of purpose and sense of how quickly we need to move. So just really, really well done. I'm just going to keep carrying it around. So really appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Martin? All right, so a lot of things that have happened, so I just want to just give a couple of thoughts and appreciation. So you're right, you mentioned that when we first started this journey, we were immediately drawn to communications and partnerships. And so I just want to echo a lot of what you said relative to just the master key, but also I think all of these things, right? The campaign, 404 Day, that I know I participated in and had a great time, State of Atlanta Housing, all well done, well received. I have not heard one thing that has been even a complaint or a nit about any of them. And that speaks to that idea of us wanting to be the best agency, right? And as a result of that, serving the best and the best of our city, right? And so I just want to just say that you guys are meeting the mark that I think we set. I'm glad that you're still trying to push past that mark. And so I just want to continue to elevate that we're doing what we said. And it comes from when I think I said this in my remarks at the State of Atlanta Housing, which was everybody came to me and said, man, you don't know what you're getting yourself into when I joined the board. And it was always a warning. It was always a concern. It was always here's what you need to amplify, or here's what you need to be watching out for. And now those conversations are more about how can we get in bed with you guys? How can we work with you guys? How can we do the work? How can we amplify the work? How can we partner? And I think we've got, as a board, some work to do on partnerships and being able to help facilitate and find the right partners to put in front of this capable team in order to execute on that. And so we look forward to doing that. But I just want to just say the campaign's fantastic. I was happy to get my welcome mat yesterday, so thank you, Carolyn, for coming by. And as soon as I put it down, my wife was like, this is way better than what we had in front of our door beforehand. And so I want to just continue to elevate that. And I see that we got a flag, and I'm going to be putting the flag out in front of the house. That's how proud I am of the work that we do. State of Atlanta Housing, I won't speak more about that other than to say, from the mayor on down, everyone said, job well done, did not recognize and realize how much impact we have in the city. Period. Not just for people who live in our housing or are impacted, but literally there's an economic impact that we have, and I want to just make sure that we keep elevating that. And then 404 Day, I will just say, I got some pictures of Kelly behind me in her most amplified state. And so that is what I love to see about what we're doing. So comms, partnerships, charm is an important component for us. And I say that just because I live on the west side. I see the dumping. I see the lack of recycling. So having facilities in that neighborhood can be game-changing about how it looks, about how we, show up in that neighborhood. And so I just want to make sure that I just highlight that. Last thing, I almost believe that, I asked AI and I did a Google search on whether or not there'd ever been a state of housing address, right, from an agency. I don't know that there has been. So not only can we say it's our first ever, it might be the country's first ever. They might not have enough work to really put on something like what we did. I'm not trying to be funny about that. I'm saying that might be the case. So we should look it up and just confirm. And if it is the case, it just shows that we still are innovating and leading. And I want us to be proud of that. And I look forward to having a second one where we actually have that much to talk about and to say to not only the city, but the state, and then hopefully the country. So those are my thoughts. I do want to give a congratulations I'll just echo what was said to Kelly. I've known you a long time. I was very proud of the work that your team put together. So on behalf, I said it at the committee meeting, but you are really the person that we wanted to make sure we elevate, and I give you a standing ovation for that. All right. Last congratulations, and that is to our fearless leader. So this weekend, our fearless leader is going to finish a year-long journey, or almost a year-long journey of Leadership Atlanta. I was excited to see her. Not only I pushed her to apply, and she was on the lead. And when they gave the people out who they said were going to be in this class, her name was first on the masthead. And so that ends this weekend. I will be there to say a word before she gets her graduation, but I want to say in advance, congratulations on graduating from the Leadership Atlanta class of 2025.
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to say before we adjourn? All right.
Okay.
If no
Well,
other,
sir,
oh,
I have
go
just
ahead.
a couple of comments. One, I think it's important to note that I also received the same warnings that you all probably received. When I made the decision to come to Atlanta Housing in December 2020 as Chief Operating Officer, some would say, Terry, you have had a stellar career. Why are you going to Atlanta Housing? And then when I sought the leadership role of this organization, I had people say the same. Why would you want that role? And it's because I saw what the possibility could be. And I know the impact and the opportunity that we have as an agency, and I believe in it. And so I am grateful that people don't ask me that anymore. But they say, what is Atlanta Housing going to do next? And so I'm just really grateful to continue to be on this journey with you. I would also say for the welcome mat, I will see each one of you personally after this meeting in regards to the welcome mat, just to inquire if you would like to have one. And then I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Julia Thomas, who is a Georgia State University student who joined us today as a part. And so, Julie, wave your hand, please stand. So Julie is currently a student at Georgia State University, and she is she's taken a class this semester in global perspective. And as a part of that class, one of the requirements was that the students actually participate in a civic meeting or exercise. And so she chose Atlanta Housing because when she went on the website to see meetings, she saw that Atlanta Housing's meeting was present. And so I'm just grateful to have her here. I see my chairman has asked you to come up. Would you like to say a few words? Just come to the mic.
No, just thank you for the experience. I've learned a lot today, and I think I'll have a lot to report back to my professor for the final project. So I'm really happy to be here. I think I'll be coming to the next one. And yeah, thanks. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairman.
One last thing too, if you guys can, send the invitation for, I think, the meeting today or whatever, so to have, I think we got I just like to have stuff on my calendar, or else I will forget to do it. So if you can send that, that would be awesome.
We'll make sure to send the meeting, the calendar invite to today to all the commissioners, as well as the Reimagine Bankhead meeting that'll take place tomorrow. So we'll do both.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Any other things before we close out then, from anybody? All right. With that said, if there's no further business of this board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All right. I don't think we need a second. So moved by Commissioner Martin. And all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And I didn't hear any nays. So the meeting is adjourned. It is 2:40.